they had to be naked while participating. So it just like it's kind of awkward. I don't know. Like personally, if I was in the events and I was like up against a different opponent, I felt like they wouldn't want to get in the ring with me. Like they'd be scared before it even happened. Like the size of my like I don't know. I personally would be scared. Like nah, I don't want to fight him. He's a little too scary, you know.
Your
He's too
chest? Are you
confident.
talking about your chest?
My chest?
Talking about the size of your chest?
Yeah, is it my chest?
Yeah. Yeah. Of course.
Anyways, would you want to fight naked? Hey, welcome back to another episode of Voro-Pod. Today we're going to be analyzing our third civilization. Already did the Egyptian and Roman Empire. Today we're going to move on to the Greek Empire. Before we get into that, let's start with the Bible verse of the day. Today we got Proverbs 22:29. Let's pull it up right here. All right. Do you see someone skilled in their work? They will serve before kings. They will not serve before officials of low rank. You hear that? You want me to read it again?
Yeah, I want you to read it again.
Okay, I'll read it slower. Do you see someone skilled in their work? They will serve before kings. They will not serve before officials of low rank.
Okay. I thought it was more confusing for a second. I was like,
Yeah,
there's
I'm
no way
read it
this
too
is.
quick.
I was like, there's no way this is that simple. I was like, there's no way. So yeah.
Oh. Let's see how simple it is. Explain it here.
I mean, if you're really good at something, you're more valuable, I guess.
You're more
You're
valuable.
more valuable, and the people pay more for you, and the people that can afford you at that point is the kings and like rich people, basically.
Yeah. Well, over here it's pretty much like I did a little bit of research about it, but it's saying if you do your hardest, like you're able to do like the hardest job, the best to your ability, then God's gonna like bless you and like if you work for the glory of God, you understand what that means? Like if you work to your best ability for the glory of God, God will reward you and you will like receive a lot from that. So if you work hard and in the name of the Lord, then he will bless you, give you a good job, give you good people to work for, and then you will receive like a lot from that, or more than you would if you just like were lazy and slacked off type of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, duh.
I guess
So
that works too.
knowing that, how are you gonna live your life, or have you been already living it?
You just gotta
in a good
gather
way?
skills, I guess. You just gotta gather skills.
Skills
and
or just
do
one
it
skill?
for God, I guess. Skills,
So multiple.
multiple.
But don't you think if you just focus on one thing, then you're able to become more skillful at it? No?
Maybe, but it doesn't really bring what you really want. You could be really skillful in one thing, but you're only locked to one sort of, what is it called, field, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
You're locked to one field. So I mean, it just depends on what you do. Like, if you wanna be the best soccer player, yeah, you have to like train soccer. If you want to be the best photographer, you have to just be really good at photography. But if you wanna be successful, that's a broader statement. There's multiple ways, and one of them, one way might bring you to success, but if you try multiple skills, I think there's a higher chance of success. It depends on what goal you set.
Well, have you heard the saying like, pretty much? Oh, I guess never mind. That's in the favor of your saying pretty much like don't put all your eggs in one basket. Just in case if one thing doesn't work out, you're able to have like a bunch of different outlets, or you're able to still become successful. But from this verse, do you think like you would like this pretty much saying you're going to be working for someone else? Like, how do you feel about that? Do you want to be the king or do you want to be the skilled worker? You know, like that's kind of how I think about it. Like, honestly,
that's kind of what I
don't
was
want to be.
going.
Oh, okay.
That's kind
What
of
do
what
you
I was
mean?
going for, because a person with one skill, that's what he's locked down with.
Right.
Like he's locked down to the highest bidder, I guess.
Right,
He
because
wants
like I personally, I don't know, this whole entire verse, like I don't even want to be a worker at all. Like I don't even want to be unskilled worker or a skilled worker. I just want to chill. I want to be the king.
put me in,
No,
coach.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Put me
You
in,
definitely
coach.
got to be, it's better quality of life if you have skills and you're able to like stay busy and work for something you love. Like just be passionate with one, like maybe not even one thing with a bunch of skills, and then like that's pretty much what life is, you know, just working for your
Yeah,
goals.
yeah. You know what's crazy is that I was literally about to put this hoodie on. It's not the same as yours, but it's very similar. I was about to put this hoodie on, and then I decided to put this shirt on for the
Mhm.
thing, and then I noticed that you have an Adidas shirt on, so I was like, bro,
Yeah.
chances. It was just crazy.
Big Adidas guy, or not really?
I think that's the only thing I have Adidas, except for
Really?
socks.
I think I'm
I
wearing
got
everything
I got
Adidas right
Adidas
now. Yeah.
socks. I got well, actually no, I have pants. I'm lying. I have like like the sport like soccer pants.
Mhm.
Like they like zip at the bottom. The bottom
Yeah,
like
yeah.
zips.
Just
Yeah, those.
sweatpants or
Yeah.
joggers,
Well,
whatever they're
not
called.
yeah, joggers. Yeah, basically. I have those. I don't
Yeah.
know actually. I have
I
your
have a couple of
white
those too.
Adidas shirt.
Mhm.
Adidas is nice. It's a nice company, but
Yeah, that's one of my favorite ones. I think that's the most clothes I have out of like
yeah.
anything was Adidas brand.
You don't
But
like Nike?
I do. I have Adidas and Nike.
Yeah.
See, I noticed you don't want to talk about the Bible anymore right away.
What do you mean?
Segueing, I'm kidding. Nah, but yeah, we already talked about the
Oh,
verse. Yeah, you do anything fun for Thanksgiving? We just had it. Like, do any parties with or gatherings with family?
yeah, we did. I went over to my uncle's house. He's
Mm-hmm.
the only one in town right now, I think. My other
Oh, I see.
uncle is in California. They're picking up flooring, I believe.
They're
Flooring, maybe
what?
tile. They're picking up flooring or tile
Oh,
from
they're working again?
California. Oh, they've been working.
I thought they're doing. Wait, which uncle? It-
Sveta?
Oh, okay, shoot. I was thinking about Ilya. I'm like, what? I thought he does trekking.
Well,
But okay,
he
yeah.
has a house too. No, he's that's who I went to.
Oh,
That's
okay.
who I went over to. So uh we had like business talks like usual. Likes to
What
talk
kind of
about
business talks?
business. Likes to talk about business. And I'm not gonna talk about it.
You don't wanna?
He just likes to talk about like when we're all like together,
Just
me,
a
my
bunch of
dad, and
garbage
him.
or like actual good
No,
stuff?
like real good stuff. But like before, he never like press down and like actually do it like
Mm-hmm.
with me. He always wants somebody else to like do the research, which I already did the research on this. I already did the research on this, so I know everything about
Give
it.
a little background. Well, just a little bit.
I don't. I,
Just a topic. You don't have to go into detail. Just let's
it's selling. It's like a store, basically.
like a grocery store or
No. See, like I have to explain it now since I
no?
started.
Just say yeah.
It's
Just
okay.
say one
It's
topic.
reselling. It's just reselling.
Okay.
It's reselling. It's not groceries, but it's like construction. It's like everything.
Okay. Yeah. That's all you. That's all the detail you need to go into if you're not comfortable with explaining more.
It's not that I'm comfortable. I just I wanna do it, and then I want to talk about it.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Let's not get into it. But anything else you guys talked about, or anything interesting? Or that pretty much it.
I don't know. Not much interesting. We're just talking about like talking about names. I think like just names.
Names for.
Like the meaning of names and
Uh.
like the meaning of names and like there was like I
Just
think it was
regular chit chat.
Jezebel or
Jezebel.
Is that the one that's like in the Bible? Jezebel?
Yeah, I think so. I remember
Yeah,
hearing
she was.
Jezebel.
Yeah, it's like it's like
Shameless.
perverted mind. Yeah, shameless.
Morally
Shameless.
unrestrained women. Nice.
Yeah. That
Yeah.
was brought up, but yeah.
Yeah, I also so I didn't go to California to celebrate Thanksgiving. I don't really have any family around here. We
Why
celebrate
didn't you go actually? Pavlik was texting. He was complaining that you
because
didn't go.
my dad went there for one day to like just pick up mandarins and furume, what are they called? Persimmons. And
Parsimons?
he was just like doing something with his bees as well. So he didn't go there to like stay for a while. And I thought like I'm not just gonna drive there for 2 days and then not really do anything, and this is gonna mess up my like my habits and everything. Because like last time I went, it took me a while to get back into like that grind, like everyday thing. Like I felt lazier afterwards. I'm like,
Really?
might as well like try to work over this Thanksgiving break and like stay busy, you know. But
Wait, did he
yeah,
stay longer? I didn't.
you just stayed one
He
day,
stayed one day. I thought
one
he
or
stayed
two
longer.
maybe.
Oh.
He
I thought
he
he was
left.
staying a couple days.
Yeah, so he left Sunday and then he came back Wednesday. So I guess he stayed 2 days.
Okay, makes sense.
And then on Wednesday night when he came back, we did like a family Thanksgiving dinner thingy, but it was nothing like crazy because we don't have like any like friends or family over, just us. And then on Thursday, my friend invited me to his like family Thanksgiving, and it was pretty fun.
Wow.
Had a lot of good food. It was not nice to, I guess, like gathering party.
Was
But
that with Diana?
no, Diana didn't. It's Diana's boy, but
Okay.
I was the only one there. They were working, my sisters.
But
But after eating, I was like super slumped, so I went and laid down on the beanbag chair, like in the side of their living room. And then they have like 5 babies or something, because all of their like siblings are having babies right now with other people. But yeah, they're having babies. And they're all just like playing in a group, like 5 of them being super loud, and they had like Jenga blocks and like throwing around. And one of their like cousins, she's like 13 years old, said, "Hey Vlad, why aren't you playing with the babies?" I'm like, "Cause I hate babies." And like everyone like starts laughing over there. I'm like, you know what? Might as well like mess around with the Jenga blocks. So I start building a really good tower. You know, it took me a while. I got it almost to the top, used up all the Jenga blocks, and keep in mind, there's a bunch of 2-year-olds around that are respecting my building and realize how hard I worked on it. But this like 4-year-old girl, already like mature and understands things, walks over, kicks my block like from the tower from the bottom, and just stares at me. I'm just like, "Are you kidding me?" And just laughs in my face. I'm like, "Bruh, you're." I'm so close to just get your. Nah, but like I realized
Straight up bully, bro.
yeah, if I hit her, I would be the one that's like get in trouble, you know. They wouldn't believe my side of the story.
She broke my Jenga blocks.
Bruh, in that moment, I realized I never want to have kids. I can't stand them. You're gonna come over here, kick my Jenga block tower over, and laugh in my face. It's like the disrespect, man.
So now you don't want kids because of her.
Nah, I really tested my patience. Man.
That's funny.
No, I'm kidding. I probably do want kids still, but I just think I'm not really even close to the point where I can handle them, you know? Just not mature enough yet or patient. Yeah. I think I need to grow up a few more years. What are you thinking? You as well? About kids?
Yeah, definitely not ready. Dude, I don't know. I'm ready to, like...
Find someone?
Find someone, but not necessarily have kids. But, like, I'm ready to
Yeah.
find someone. But I mean, that'll come in time, but... Hopefully when I have everything figured out. I want to have at least something figured out, you know?
Yeah.
Because I don't want to, like, start a family with, like, nothing. Kind of
I would hope.
Yeah,
You don't want to just chill at home with a wife? Like, in your parents' house or something?
I know, yeah.
A lot of, like, teens that get married, that's what they do. Like, they don't have enough money to rent.
I mean, in insanely expensive places, that kind of makes sense. It's like, the rent is insane.
Yeah.
But it's also like, why did you get married? Like, you could have waited.
Yeah,
like, you really wanted, you know?
Like, if you really want it that bad, just get it. I'm kidding. Right. Shoot, I also just played football with some of my friends. Yeah, it's super cold outside, and after playing, I don't know if it's because I'm like a little sick right now or what, but my body's absolutely destroyed. Like, I drove 20 minutes back home, and when I got out of the car, like I had to crawl to my house and up the stairs because like I literally had like pains all down my like, what is it called, the hip area, all the way down to my like knees and stuff, and I couldn't move. It was like cramping like crazy.
What kind of football did you guys play?
just regular. I don't know if it was from the
Tackle?
cold. No, just two hand touch. But like,
Bro, what?
I don't know if like I'm just getting out of shape right now because like I am heavy and not agile at all. So and I haven't ran like that in a while, like shiftiness. Like I just ran in a straight line. So it's just maybe my body's not used to it. Cold outside and I'm a little sick. So maybe a combination of those three or something. But I felt terrible. Like I was about to throw up. My body was shaking. And I just like took 30 minutes and just sat down just right now and just like tried to compose myself. But I feel better now. It's
Yeah.
crazy how out of shape I've gotten. I need to start playing sports or like maybe doing some type of like fighting style to get myself back into
Yeah, your
like
heart
a
rate up, I guess.
yeah, well not
But the
necessarily
thing is,
heart
it's
rate, it's just
yeah.
joints moving cuz like I have decent heart rate now or cardio, like I do
Mhm.
running and sauna, but like it's nothing shifty. So my body's not used to like those
Stress, I
movements, I
guess.
guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, stress
I
movements.
actually came back from soccer just now too. Like
Yeah.
it was poor. Like it was raining the whole time. Like it was raining the whole time. I pull up, right? It starts raining as soon as I pull up to the place,
Pull up.
and I'm 30 minutes before anybody is there. Everybody, you guys know any Slavs? They're always late.
I don't get
Always
it. Like
late.
I feel like our family's always on time, but
I
every single
know.
Slavic family are always like 30 minutes late. It's
I
stupid.
know, bro. I pull up. There's this guy that comes up. I thought that they invited him. I was like, "Oh, yeah, what's up? Who invited you? Because I haven't seen you before." It was his name is
Are
Ivan.
you rolling up on my streets like that, cuz?
It was
Pretty much.
Ivan. He plays soccer decently well. He just came to practice by himself, and we ended up playing with him. But so I pull up. We get there. We warm up together, me and him. We warm up, like get our joints moving, stretch out the muscles, and then it's 20 minutes in. Nobody shows up yet. Like it's 20 minutes late and nobody's here. Like we're just waiting, and this guy is like just came to play by himself, and like we're waiting, and then everybody pulls up like 30, 45 minutes late, and then we just start playing. It's like, bro,
Yeah, it's definitely
that
annoying.
sucks.
Like, if you set a schedule or like a time to do something, like show up on time. I was like, you got to think about other people, you know? Like you're
Yeah, half
wasting
the
their
people
day
didn't
and
even
everything.
show up too.
Yeah, it's annoying. Like, yeah, I get it, you're busy or something like that, but other people have lives too. Like, show up on time or be like
Yeah,
honest. People just don't understand that they're not the only ones with a schedule.
schedule
It's
at
kind
3:30 next time.
yeah,
Everybody
but
comes later on time.
yeah. It's definitely fun to go out and like do stuff with friends, but like what do you do as like an outlet or like to relax, you know? Like when you're in your feels or something, like what do you do to zone out of life and just focus on yourself?
On yourself, shoot, that's a tough one. I've never
What do you
really
mean?
been in my feels.
Not
Like,
necessarily feels, but like
okay,
when you're by yourself, what do you do to like zone out and just like kind of like get away from life, you know? Like you have to have those moments. Everyone does.
I, I'm not gonna lie, I haven't had the moment before. Like,
How?
zone out. I don't know. Like the thing that I like go to is like just to
Okay,
get my brain off of things. The thing that I
gym.
go to,
Like
the
that's an
gym. No, it's
example.
it's a straight
No?
motivator. It doesn't like
Hmm.
doesn't like I'm just motivated to go to the gym. I discipline whatever I go. I don't not want to go. I have the push to go. I see people there. I talk to people. Like I want to talk to people there. The only thing that I can think of that what I do when I want to get my mind off things, and I still don't do it alone. I play games. Like I
Yeah.
used to play a lot of games, but now like I don't play much. But when I try to like when I need to get my mind off things, I just play games and like
Well,
waste a
yeah,
little
cause
bit
like
of time, I guess.
people read books, play games. Like what I do, like going to the gym's like something to get my mind off. Like if I'm not feeling motivated to do homework or like to do research or something like that, I'm like, shoot, I'm not just gonna be sitting around wasting time. I'm just gonna go to the gym and it kind of gives me like a reset. And like I'm just sitting there, just like not thinking about anything in my like life, but just kind of working out, and like that's the only thing I'm thinking about. And like you said, like conversation stuff, like that doesn't mean you're not zoning out, but like it's like you're still getting away from life. It's just like you're only focusing on the gym. And like another thing is like music for me. Like I've kind of in the morning time, I just like wake up and the same thing. Like sometimes in the morning I'm not feeling like doing stuff, and just like music isn't something complicated that makes me want to like, or doesn't require a lot of thinking. So I just kind of like stir on a bit, play, and then kind of get into the groove, you know. So that's kind of
Yeah.
what I was going with. So there's nothing.
I mean, the gym works a little. Like I
Uh
like
huh.
sometimes when you're just working out, you just zone out completely. Like
Yeah.
you're just doing it by muscle memory maybe. Like you just like next machine, you just go and do it. You don't even like think, like nothing's going through your head. Like that happens
Yeah.
to me sometimes, but like I don't know. But my main thing, which I've been doing for a long time, was definitely games. Like or
Yeah.
waste time, or I'll put on a show and I'll just run things through my head. Like I don't even watch the show. Like I put on something that I probably already watched just to like waste time, just to like get my mind off of something. But like my brain will just be like going. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess I
Yeah.
just
Because
do
we
it
used to
like that
play games like pretty much every. I would like during the summertime we'd play like
a
five
lot.
nights a yeah 5 nights a week or something like
Yeah.
that. But like we would just play in the nighttime, so like we did go through our day,
Yeah.
and then like that's what we did to kind of like relax or settle down for the day. So yeah, I
Yeah.
definitely get what you mean by the games part. But recently we're just I don't know. Personally, I'm too busy, and I guess you are too for games. So
Yeah.
well, that's our intro. Want to lead it
Lead
into
us
the
into.
Greek Empire? A little background about it.
Yeah. Let's start with the background. So first off, I'm not 100% sure that these guys were called the Greeks,
Yeah, so
but
they obviously
they,
had a bunch of different names and like different
yeah.
parts of this like empire, but altogether it's like the Greek Empire and it's the
Mm.
Greek people.
So it started off as the Minoans, they were called, right? And
Minoans, yeah.
Minoans, yeah, they were in Athens, I believe, and they
Mhm.
uh, they were starting to advance in shipbuilding, construction, ceramics, sciences, arts, and plus warfare too.
Yeah.
And so it
Slowly
was it
growing
was
up their
just a
city.
city, yeah. So they're building it, and so how they fell was due to natural disasters by a volcano and a tsunami, and that's actually where people think that Atlantis came from because the author, I believe his name is Platos, I believe.
Plato's. Yeah.
Platos, I think it was Platos, and that's where they think that he got the story of Atlantis from. So, do you have
Um
something
I
to
don't
talk
have
about that?
much information about Atlantis or anything like that, but was it considered like so I know that historians or like researchers of Greek, they don't have much information about this particular civilizations or like many of the civilizations before like 1100 BC.
Yeah,
But
nothing.
um, I know that like, or actually, so like, were they considered to be advanced or something?
It was
Is that why?
considered to be. I believe that it was considered to be not necessarily advanced, but it was like really advanced for its time, and it was like basically a city of gold because it was just like arts. It had everything. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know about physical gold, but it was like considered like it was like
So you said
the main
Plato's wrote
place.
about it, right?
Let me tell you exactly.
Well, like there was an author that wrote about like saying that this was Atlantis.
Yeah, I believe it was Plato. Plato.
Yeah, and
By
did he
Plato. Yeah.
say something about like it having anything like super like special or something like that? We're just saying like it was very artsy and had like well developed stuff for
Special.
its
Well,
time.
yeah. I don't know. He didn't say it was well developed for
Because
its
when
time.
you
He just
think
said it was
about
developed
Atlantis,
very well.
yeah,
So like
because
he
when you
didn't
think about
explain for its time.
Atlantis, you think
Yeah.
about something being like super futuristic and it's like
You know
pretty
why?
much just why.
Because the movie. Have you seen the Disney movies? Atlantis Disney movies?
Maybe it's like a long time ago if I did.
Yeah, there was Atlantis Disney movies. I know of Atlantis. Okay, there was I believe three different Atlantis shows or like something that had to do with Atlantis. First of all, there was Stargate Atlantis.
Uh huh.
There was Atlantis, those Disney shows, and every single one of them were like portrayed them as an advanced civilization.
Yeah, it's probably just
So
like afterwards, like humans pretty much over exaggerated. Like they might have
yeah,
been an advanced species for its time or advanced civilization, but it's nothing like crazy. Like if we went
okay,
back to
but they were good stories. Not gonna lie,
yeah,
like both of them
I
were
mean
good stories. I'm not gonna lie. Like the
Fiction.
Stargate, the Stargate. I mean, it has a decent like storyline, I guess. But it was
Yeah.
just like it was really old. It was really old show, but I like how it goes. Anyways, so after that, there was a
They had
civilization.
they got
Let's
taken
say,
out by, you said, volcanoes and tsunamis, right?
yeah,
And just like
yeah,
natural disasters.
yeah. So
Okay.
after that, the Mycenaeans took all of their advancement and beliefs. I believe they were like sort of like the leftover people, maybe, or like the people that
Mm-hmm.
like maybe moved in or that like
Try to
survived. I'm
rebuild
not.
it.
Yeah, try to rebuild it, I guess. And so this was around 1900 to 1100 BC, where that was the Mycenaean civilization. I believe that's how you say it. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, these names are so hard to
Yeah,
pronounce.
yeah. So that's kind of like the Mycenaean civilization is basically known as the Greek culture. It was like the beginning of the Greek culture.
Mm-hmm.
So, but we still know nothing about them. Same as the Minoans, basically. Like we know nothing about them, but all we know is, uh, we know
They're like
that
speculations.
yeah, there's like speculation, and also it was like kind of like some archaeological founds. Um,
Yeah.
I believe it was through Homer account. The war. So it was like the War of Troy. Have you heard about that?
Yeah, I actually have a story about Troy.
Yeah.
Just to give a little bit of background about it. So Troy was just like an ancient city, and in modern day, it would be around like the area of Turkey. Pull
Okay.
up on the map just to like show.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Trojan civilization, or like the people, began in the year 3000 BC, and there was like 9 different eras to it or something like that. Like they fell apart, got rebuilt, fell apart, and like a different civilization took over. So they just like had a bunch of ups and downs. But from the year 3000 to around the year like I would say 1200 or something BC, um, they developed and grew more powerful as like a lot of civilizations had. They had
Mm.
uh, great like successes in war. Money was coming in. They were growing like quickly, and they developed their signature thing, which is their fortification system. So they had 17-meter walls. At least that's what I found with this like research. Like some people said that was higher, some people said it was lower, but 17-meter walls surrounding the entire perimeter of the city,
Wow.
and this made it very hard for it like for people to penetrate or capture it. And at the same time, around the year like 1200 BC, the Mycenaean Empire, the one you were talking about, the
Hmm.
Greeks, it was slowly disintegrating, and they were becoming like weaker and weaker, and like citizen morale was kind of going down. So they needed to change that. And with that, talk a little bit more about Troy. So the king of Troy, he had around 50 sons and 12 daughters. So this guy was busy, busy.
With one and not with 1 minute. It
Nah,
was
nah,
it was
nah. He
definitely
had
multiple.
all kings back then had
Okay.
so many like wives. Even the
Really?
movie you watched
Mm.
yesterday, like the Prince of Persia,
Uh-huh.
the guy, like one of the king's sons, he had like a bunch of wives, and he's like, you have too many wives. Give one to your
Yeah.
brother. Like that's what they said in it. But yeah, anyways,
Yeah.
they had a bunch of kids, and one of the king's kids, his name was Paris. He went to Greece for some type of conference or something, and he developed a relationship with a woman named Helen, which was uh, the wife of the king of Sparta, which was
Uh-huh.
like a city in Greece.
Yeah.
And this Paris guy took the woman back to Troy, and like Greece was like, what the heck, like, or like the king of Sparta said something to Greece, and they like went on the whole entire conquest trying to find this guy's wife. And
Yeah.
they took a bunch of like the Trojan colonies like right before the city of Troy,
Uh-huh.
but like Paris ended up saying like, oh, I'm not giving her back, like she's mine. And at that point, Sparta and Greece like formed like, well, I guess they were like the same part of the same country or empire. They declared war on Troy and their allies, and they had like a massive 10-year war. But like nothing was going in either direction. Like Troy was holding their ground, and Greece couldn't penetrate the walls, and then Troy couldn't push Greece back, so they kind of got a stalemate. And there during this time, like the 10-year period, there was a bunch of like cool stories, like have you heard of Achilles, the
Yeah.
great warrior? Yeah, so he killed a bunch of warriors like Paris's like older brother. His name was Hector. He killed him in like a battle, and that was like a really popular story and stuff. But eventually, Achilles got killed by getting shot in the Achilles tendon with an
Mm.
arrow. But yeah, like there's
Achilles
cool
heel.
Achilles heel, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why his name is Achilles, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's like that. That's a cool story as well, but we won't go too far into that. But then the Greeks developed a brilliant plan. They decided to like give the Trojans like a peace offering with the massive Trojan horse, and
Well,
everyone
didn't
knows the
they sort of
story.
leave? Like they sort
Yeah,
of
they
left,
left
and
and then
they said like, oh, here you go. Like
yeah,
this is like
but technically they didn't leave because they had a bunch of like ships in during the nighttime. They sent their Trojan horse into there, packed with soldiers. The soldiers jumped out at nighttime, opened the gates, and all the like their army fled into there and destroyed the whole entire city by dawn.
yeah.
So they just destroyed that whole entire thing. But that's a fake story.
I actually watched the. Have you seen the show
Troy.
Troy, The Fall
It
of a
was a
City?
movie, yeah. Oh, it was a
Was it a
show.
movie? It was a show on Netflix. It's
There was a movie with Brad Pitt a long time ago. Being a key.
it's called The Fall of a City. It's a show. It's on Netflix. Yeah, they like sort of like they gave that story, but they did it in a more like cinematic sort of way, I guess.
Yeah, obviously I can't
Yeah.
compete with a multi-billion-dollar company.
Yeah, but
Soon,
I mean,
soon.
it was a good like show.
Yeah, it's fun like
Yeah.
watching like cool cinematic pieces like of history. Like if it's a good work, then it's interesting, obviously.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's obviously a fake story, and the Greeks kind of like promoted that story in their mythology to like showcase their power. But the
Yeah.
real downfall of Troy was around 1300 BC. There was a massive earthquake that wiped out the entire town, and then the remaining citizens rebuilt it, but like it was nowhere near to like the peak of the Troy before. And like around 100 years later, they were looted, and like the city was destroyed in a massive fire. I mean, I guess you can argue that that could have been like one of the Greece empires or something, but I didn't find anything about it. It just said like the city was lost in a massive fire. And after that, they never recovered. And then in the year 700 BC, that's when Greek settlers came in that area, established it, occupied it, and like as one of their colonies. So
Right
then
now,
that's
it's a part of Turkey, right? Though.
yeah,
So
it's like in that
it
area.
right now it's called Kanakali, I believe.
Kanakali.
I believe so. Or I might be a little downstream, but it's somewhere around the area. It's like
Yeah, it's in modern
right
day
next.
Turkey. So.
Yeah, so it's like right across the Aegean Sea. They had to cross the sea.
Uh huh. Yeah, yeah.
And
Somewhere
I believe they had to like sacrifice one of the the Spartan king's daughter.
For the war.
To like transport because there was like a
Oh, because they like say like gift to the god, water god, or something.
yeah
like that.
yeah
I remember hearing
Thor
something
was it
about
to
that.
Thor, probably to Thor.
It was
I don't know, is
Poseidon.
Thor? Oh, Poseidon, I guess. Thor is the Roman.
Nah, Thor is from the movie Thor.
No, but isn't he from some sort of mythology? Oh, he's from the what's it called?
He's the
Oh,
Norwegian mythology.
my bad. I watched too much Vikings.
Yeah, that's a whole different thing. He's one of the
Yeah, my
gods
bad.
of some civilization.
Some
But yeah,
water
Poseidon was
civilization.
the god of the sea.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah, that's pretty much the story of Troy. You can
Yeah.
keep on going with your history. A little sidetrack right
Yeah.
there.
All right, so by 1100 BC, that's around where the Bronze Age collapsed.
Hmm.
So all the Mycenaeans cities, so all of southwest Greece were abandoned and then destroyed by Doric Greeks. And then I think that led into Dark Ages. Sorry, I was finding where I was at. So that led into the Dark Ages where it was just probably I don't know what nothing much going on because there's no no written. There's no information about the Dark Ages from
Mm-hmm.
1100 to 800. There's nothing from that time period, which is a very long time. If there was stuff from before, right, and then it just stops completely and then it starts back up 300 years later, that's crazy. 300 years, that's insane.
Yeah.
So, and then after that, there was the Archaic period where the monarchies that were established in the Dark Times and like sort of after it was all changing into republics now. They're like city states. They're like one city. They were called polis, and there were city states. So each city had like its own king, but then it changed into a democracy, which
Yeah.
was the people kind of sort of ruled
More
it. But
promising government too.
yeah,
Like it
do
works
you
better.
do you think it was seriously people, or do you think it was like people chose somebody?
What do you mean?
Like, how
For
was their democracy? How did their democracy
the
work?
Senate, it
It
was
was the
a
Senate
legit
as
one.
well.
Yeah. So they
It
had.
was
I'm
Senate.
pretty sure it was like similar to the Romans one. They had the
Okay.
Senate, and then they had a person in charge.
Okay.
And I'm pretty sure it was legit because, like, it might have been a little corrupt, or maybe a lot, but like, I mean, stuff got done obviously, and the people are
hmm
happy.
Yeah, I believe it was Draco who reformed and brought
Uh,
laws.
I
Who
mean, there's a lot of
did a
like
lot.
before the year 500. There's like a lot of time period where like nothing really happened. Like it was just a long time period, but that's kind of what happens with civilizations. Like it takes a lot of time for something to grow, and once it gets to that point, it like exponentially grows, and that's where all the
Yeah.
interesting things happen, which is right now, like the year 500 all the way down to like, I guess the collapse of Greece. That's where all the exciting parts happen.
Yeah, that's why it's called the classical period. Right here.
Mm-hmm.
This is where the classical period starts at 500, and then
And then
that's where the Persians try to invade for the first time in 490. Sorry,
490. Yeah.
490,
Um,
492 to 490.
Let me get another story in here about the Greek Persian War. So, the
Okay.
Greek and Persians started fighting in the year like 499 BC. That's when like officially began with like some minor disputes or conflicts. And this war lasted around like half a century until the year 449 BC. And it resulted in a Greek victory. I think we'll get into that afterwards, like after this little story I have. I'm going to be talking about the Battle of Marathon. So, there was obviously a bunch of important key battles for both sides, but the Battle of Marathon can be argued as like one of the key victories for Greece, especially early on in the war. So, in the year 492, Greece had defended against the Persians' first invasion, and they had a bunch of generals in like certain sections, and they had them like rotating so they didn't get tired, but they all kind of like gathered together and put one person in charge. I'm gonna try my best to say his name. Miltiades. He was the general placed like in command for Greece, and he was placed with a decision, like a hard decision, with either to wait to defend against the Persians' attack again, or to attack them, like I guess like develop some type of strategy to like as an attack, because they knew they had no chance of like defeating the larger Persian cavalry on like an open plain, and they
Mhm.
had to use like some crazy tactics to win. But a miracle happened where the Greeks learned that like the Persian cavalry was absent from their camp. They like went somewhere back, probably to Persia, or like had some, I don't know, some type of training or something, but they weren't there. And the general took this opportunity and marched 11,000 soldiers into the Persian camp, and they like weren't expecting it. And the weakened force of still greater than theirs, it was 15K. They were unprepared and broke into retreat, but like the Greeks somehow like closed them off, like made like a circle around, and some of them still escaped, but they killed a lot of them. And what ended up happening is the Persians retreated to the waters back to their ships, and by the time they got there, Persia had lost around 64,000 men out of the 6,400 men out of the 15,000, and then Greece had only lost around like 190, like 200 men. So like that was a impressive victory, especially with like the amount of loss they received. But
Yeah.
also, the reason this is called the Battle of Marathon, this could also be some type of Greek mythology or like a rumor that happened. But one of the Greek soldiers, like a messenger, after the battle was won, he ran back to Athens, which is around 25 miles, and he delivered the good news of the victory. And
Hmm.
the marathon was based off this, which is around 25 miles as well. So
Yeah.
after that, that's like where the marathon came from.
Yeah.
But yeah,
It's funny.
but yeah, that's all I got for that.
So much history. The
Yeah,
marathon came from this guy.
Greeks
Yeah.
did a lot of stuff.
Yeah, they did. All right, so right here, you ended off at around 450, right?
Yeah,
No,
well, somewhere around there.
yeah.
You were gonna
So
talk about how like the Persians got defeated. I'm pretty sure.
yeah, okay. So how the Persians invaded, I believe.
Yeah, sorry.
So the Persians invaded around 490, and they also did another time in 480. So they had two sort of invasions. They tried to invade Greece, and so did. At this time, Greece actually reached its height. This was like the peak of Greece, right?
Yeah.
This is where Plato,
They had like
Aristophanes.
some of the best philosophers,
Yeah,
mathematicians, like scientists, everybody. Like,
it was very massive
yeah,
at the
they
time.
were advancing in like every single subject and field of like their empire.
Yeah, so this is actually the same year in 480, where King Leonidas and his 300 Spartans held. I believe it was like they held like a passageway, sort of, to get to Greece against the
Mm-hmm.
Persians when on the second invasion, and this was in 480, and then in 479, this is where Persians were defeated. Like so, they were stalled. They couldn't
Like completely
take.
defeated and like taken over, or just like they
Well, no,
received
no,
a
no. They
massive
they just
loss.
they're the troops that came to invade.
Oh, okay.
Like they stopped. I guess they went back
Okay.
or something happened. So it was stopped, and so there's a long period after that where it was probably just calm, and
Yeah, a
so
little stalemate.
yeah, a little stalemate, and then Alexander the Great. I think everybody knows. A lot of people know Alexander the Great.
Yeah, he's one of
But yeah,
the most popular leaders or
yeah, he was
conquerors ever.
massive. So he was listening to his dad, and he was instilled sort of with the. Well, I could say Alexander's the Great whole life story. It's just crazy. So his life story, he ran away from his dad because his dad married a new wife and
Mm-hmm.
like didn't want his mom, so he ran away with his mom, and then he went back to his dad, and his dad accepted him back, or like I think his dad wanted him back, but I'm not exactly sure. But anyways, so he took after his dad, and his dad wanted to attack the Persians or take over the Persians. So Alexander the Great sort of made that his goal, and at that point, like the country was balling. They had money, they had troops, they had everything they needed. He didn't not need like anybody's support
Mm-hmm.
for anything. So he grabbed his soldiers, and they just went east, and they took all of Persia, and then they kept going further. They went all the way to India.
Mm-hmm.
They went all the way to India. It's like when you think about Greece, like the Greece Empire, all the way out to India. That's insane. That's so far. And
Yeah.
what's so good about him is he was a really good leader. Like he kept the whole country. Like Persia was like sort of part of Greece now, but he did not disrespect the Persians at all. He did not disrespect the Indians or whoever he took over. He did not disrespect any of them. He sort of like
He's a
let them do
respectable
their
man.
own thing. Yeah, he let them do their own thing. Like he did
He
not
just probably
force any.
placed in the Greek like government and stuff and let the people live their lives, right?
He didn't
That's
place
kind
any
of.
government. He sort of let them do what they wanted to, like not in the government way,
Mm.
but in like the religion. So he didn't force any
Oh,
religion
okay,
on them.
okay.
He didn't force the government. I'm not sure, but he
So
was like the king. Like there was probably like
yeah,
people that controlled the sort of area, but he was like the king. You know, there was like probably governors maybe,
Uh-huh.
but he was the king of everything. So um, he died at around he died at 323 BC. Then after that,
Short life, 36 years.
36 years.
Yeah, but that's a lot of people. They lived. I think the life expectancy was like 25 in ancient Greece, but that's probably a lot because of like the babies dying and like a lot of people like didn't live long. But like the people that did live long was around like the year like 50 was like one of the max ages.
Yeah, they had no way to like heal, I guess, if it was
Yeah,
something serious. Like no, like infections were like death sentence basically.
yeah.
Right? Yeah. So after he died, his empire was kind of divided into four. Like there was four generals. Like they all wanted his like strength, but it was kind of like divided. So there's like wars going on. Like it's like a bunch of just a
Civil
whole
wars.
mess. Yeah, it was like civil wars. There's like a whole mess, but it was sort of like divided. So the Persians sort of like did their own thing, and then the Greeks did their own thing, and so around there, where is it? All right, so around there, that was the Hellenistic period,
Hmm.
and so the successors, those generals that took over those places were called the successors, and then it was Antigonus the first established the Anto Antigonid dynasty. Dude, these
What did you
names
just
are so
say?
I don't know. Their names are so insane. Like it's hard to
Come again.
it's hard to say. And
Oh
then
my
that was
goodness.
lost, and then it was regained by his grandson, the second Antigonus. And yeah, that's basically the story, and that story sort of ends off at 276.
And that's kind of where like the Greek Empire like withered away pretty much and got taken over by the Romans around that time.
It's just like it didn't
It
grow
got
anywhere. It
weak
didn't
and
go
then
anywhere. Yeah, it
yeah,
was just like
eventually the
a
Romans took
yeah.
over.
Yeah, we'll talk about the fall. Should we talk about the fall now or later? Like
Um
say how it ended, sort of.
yeah, just I'll go into it.
So how it ended, it was basically the Roman Empire sort of started, and they were kind of like influencing the Greeks, and they were obviously copying the Greeks.
Yeah,
And
they took
so
their stuff and then improved it and then the Greeks kind of went
the
under their
Greeks,
control.
yeah, they weren't a massive, they weren't a massive empire that like had like so much strength. So the Romans were stronger. They didn't even. I don't
Hmm.
think there was like a massive battle too. Like it just went over to the Romans.
Yeah.
Yeah, just slowly.
Well, they
Yeah.
didn't have any like major conflicts or anything. They still had like their people were still safe. They're fine. They just pretty much did the same thing what Alexander the Great did. He like
Yeah.
I guess there was bigger battles with Alexander the Great, but like he still respected the people and he didn't like pretty much tell them what to do. So yeah, the Romans kind of did the same thing with the Greeks. They just took took their land and left them be. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's pretty much the quick summary of their empire. And then now we can just probably talk about like some cool stories or anything. Bring
Yeah,
up
we'll just like
religion.
sort of pitch in
Yeah.
between. Like we'll find stuff to talk about. So, you want to start with religion?
Yeah.
So
You have a
their
little background with
religion
that?
was, like we said, the Romans loved to copy, and so the Greeks. So this is where the Roman um, religion came from. So it came from the Greeks,
Mm-hmm.
and sort of it started off as a it's sort of like a way to explain the universe. So like it
Mm-hmm.
said that
There was two gods. So one of them was Uranus, and that
but
was the god.
where it started from,
Oh, okay.
it said that an early myth relates in the beginning there was nothing but chaos in the form of an unending waters.
Mm-hmm.
And then from this chaos came the goddess Urinome, who
God.
separated the water from air and began
Oh
her
shoot.
dance of creation with the serpent Ophium.
Shoot, I read a lot of like Greek mythology books, but I did not know that. I thought it just started with Gaia and uh, Uranus, which were the sky was Uranus and Gaia was the goddess of earth or land or whatever. So
Okay, so this is where it started from, right? So
yeah.
what does that sound like to you? Where it was unending waters and like and the serpent
Sounds, yeah,
Ophion.
like
What does that sound
pretty
like?
much like the Christian religion or
Yeah, it sounded like that's
the
why I
Old
brought it
Testament.
up. Yeah, it sounds like the like sort of like where it was just unending, and then
That's why
it's
it's like you obviously got to keep your faith and everything because you
Mhm.
never know, and like that's what faith is. You like believe without knowing the facts, but it's just like it's kind of hard sometimes because like a lot of these stories are sound very similar, and you don't know if one of them copied like the other and like where it
yeah.
necessarily came from. So it's definitely hard at times to keep that faith, but yeah, it definitely sounds like the Old Testament, like you were saying.
You know what? As soon as I read that, I was like, shoot. You know what that reminds me of? Like, what if somebody interpreted it wrong? So like, God was trying to talk to somebody, like the
Oh,
same thing when he
okay.
was trying to talk to write the Bible, and somebody interpreted it wrong, and like
Messed
this
up the
came
whole
out of
Greek
it.
thing.
Well,
Yeah, but they
not
had
messed up, but the thing is, right? That's where it started from, right? And then
yeah, and
it
then
was
afterwards they had
changed. It was completely changed by people. So by the time Hesiod and Homer were writing, this is 8th century. By the
yeah.
time they were writing the book, the story had changed into a more familiar myth where it was like Zeus and stuff like that. At the
Mhm.
time, it wasn't like at the how it started was there was the good and then there was a serpent. There was the what was her name? Uranome and Ophion. So it was just those two, and then later it was just totally completely switched, and it was Zeus, the Titans, and then the
Yeah, yeah.
war, the birth of Olympian gods and stuff like that. I think you know a little bit more
The
about that,
whole
right?
yeah. So I have a story about shit. Let's start with the Kronos story. So let me get to it real quick, just for some guidance. But pretty much, uh, like I said before, there was at the beginning. You said like there was the serpent and stuff, and they created Uranus, which was the god of the sky, and then Gaia, which was the goddess of the earth. And those two had many children, which were called the Titans. And one of the children was named Kronos, and he was very power hungry. And Kronos, with like the influence of his mother, got a sword and chopped off his father's willy, clean off. Yeah, and yeah, pretty much that was his way of saying, like, proving that he's the top dog. His father was killed, chopped up into like many pieces, and then like he was placed as the leader of the world or like placed in charge. He was like the king, and he was the king of the Titans.
Uh-huh.
And he afterwards he had many children, and with every single infant that he had, he would swallow them in fear of them doing the same thing to him. Like he didn't want one of his children to overthrow him and like get power
Uh-huh.
hungry, so
Uh-huh.
he would eat them. And one of his children was Zeus, and Kronos' wife or baby mama, whoever it was, decided to hide Zeus, and Zeus grew up into like a man. And once Zeus was like a man, he approached Kronos and said, "Give like puke out all the children that you have swallowed, or else I'll kill you." And then Kronos ended up puking them all out, and they were all already like full grown adults when he puked them out. So it was like, how do you have that many children? It's like it's kind of whack. But yeah, he had that. He just puked out a bunch of gods because the Titans' children
Yeah.
were called gods, and Zeus took his army of gods against Kronos' army of Titans, and they fought against each other. The gods overthrew, and Kronos was chopped up into pieces, thrown into Tartarus, which is like the deepest part of hell in Greek mythology.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when Zeus became the like leader of
The
the
gods.
yeah whatever
Yeah.
of the world and the gods.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a little story of that. Do you have any more for the religion? Because I have another story, if anything.
Go ahead. I don't that like I just
Nothing
had the
specific.
intro of how it started
Okay,
basically.
okay. Okay, so this is a Pan was a god of the wild. His name was Pan, and he was also a shepherd. So this guy was known for being kind of a creep and like a pervert and stuff like that. And from time to time, like a lot of women rejected him. So being in the wilderness and being a shepherd, he got lonely at times and would actually have relations with his sheep. So yeah, what a good shepherd he was. And with like, so he was rejected a lot by women, and this was because he kind of like every single woman he laid his eyes on, he was the type of guy that he would like fall in love with him or want to do something with him. So he was like pretty much just a horny boy. And one particular woman kind of was like fed up with his crap, and she was like was always trying to run away from him. And since he lived in the wilderness, like think about it, like some woman running away from, like he was like a goat type of thing, so half goat half man, and like running through the woods chasing a woman. That's so freaky. But yeah, she tried to run away from him, and eventually she just got tired of it and asked the goddess of the river, like the river goddess, to turn her into reeds. Like, you know, like those, I don't know how to, there's like the reeds in the river.
Rosachki?
No.
I'll just search it up. I'll search it up.
They're just like pretty much tubes, but I'll show a picture if anyone doesn't know what that is. But she turned her into reeds so that he wouldn't be able to get her. But this didn't stop this guy. He took the reeds and created what we know today as the pan flute, which is just a bunch of like little, like, know the flute that like grows like that. So it starts like small, and then they, like every single level gets a little bigger. Yeah. So he created that one, and he blew her everywhere he went. That's pretty much what the story was about.
Nice.
So yeah, there's a bunch of weird stories in Greek mythology. They're pretty interesting to read, and like it's cool like how they came to be, and like the creations of many like creatures or mythical beings. Like even the gods, like some of them came from Zeus's head and stuff like that. Like I don't know, just a bunch of cool stories, but it could be disturbing at times if you're not really into that type of thing. But yeah, I personally enjoyed reading those books as a kid, like the Percy Jackson series and everything.
The Percy Jackson, that showed you the Greek mythology?
Yeah, it's Greek mythology. And later on Percy it does Jackson. A little bit of Roman.
Percy Jackson. I think I heard of this before.
It's very popular.
Oh, yeah. I haven't read it, but I've seen it.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've seen the movies. I've seen this book around, like where people were reading it at school.
Yeah, it was one of my favorite books. Like, in 4th and 5th grade, whenever we had to do book reports, I would literally go down the line of the Percy Jackson books like every single year.
I did that for Alex Ryder. Have you read that?
I don't think I know what that is.
It's more of like search it up, but it's like more of a like nowadays type of thing where like a spy, like a kid turned into a spy. Yeah, stuff like that. That was my
wasn't like interested in reading, so once I got attached to that, I kind of just stuck to those books.
I did the same thing.
Yeah.
So I think that's pretty much it with the religion. Yeah, the religion is it's interesting, so to say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but their government was very basic,
plain. There's like nothing exciting with it. Yeah. This is like every other government. They had the Senate, they had the like leader in charge and stuff like that.
But yeah, actually, democracy came from their language. I think it was literally demos. So the demo, equals people, and then kratos, the Cressy, and democracy stands for power. So power of the
power
people,
to basically. The people.
Yeah, power of the people, not to the people.
To the people.
No, of the people.
You don't want to give power to the people?
No, we already have the power. So it was established in Athens first, and then everybody that was allowed to vote. It was male citizens only. Males.
Women wouldn't be able to.
Nope.
Over
20. So they had to be 20, and they have a voice in the Greek government. So 20, but that's 2 years later than us.
Yeah.
18.
Hey, that's crazy, especially since like they had very limited like life expectancy.
Yeah.
Or like very short. That's kind of whack. I would think it would be a shorter, because as I said last episode, the they were able to have relations with people very young, but they're not able to vote.
I mean, I think it was just the kings. I don't think
No,
everybody had
it was
relations.
acceptable. Like it wasn't something that was like frowned upon. And the especially the Greek one. Roman was a little bit more strict, but the Greeks were like open to allowing like getting with
Really?
younger people. Yeah, because they had to start their
I
families like earlier on since their life was shorter.
guess. I guess.
But
Gotta get the. Because the men, I
see,
guess, they
go ahead.
turn 20. They turn 20, but then that's very late. I guess they sort of like got their life
They
figured out
probably
at that
believed
time.
it as like the brain's being mature and like the body was mature at the age of 20. Brain maybe still takes a little bit, but they didn't know that. So
I
that's
mean,
probably what they
you're
based it off
very
of.
similar, like after 20 to 24. Maybe there might be a little bit of change, but
Yeah,
do you think your mentality is gonna change? When does it stop? When does your brain stop?
developing. Well, recently there's been studies of it going like well into the 30s and stuff, but the age is like around 25 for men at least. 25, 24.
It says mid to late 20s right here.
Yeah, somewhere around
So
there.
yeah,
Just depending on the studies.
yeah, yeah,
But those developments are very minimal
yeah,
at that
yeah,
time. Like most of it happens around your teenage years. But
yeah.
yeah, let's get into the culture.
Let's get let's do it.
Yeah. So, you were talking about in the was classical period. Was that the
That's
period that you said?
that was like the peak.
Yeah, the peak. Okay, so during the classical period, there were like large advancements in subjects such as like mathematics, astronomy, philosophy, like those ones, and there was a man named Pythagoras, which was a mathematical genius, and a couple episodes back was the Egyptian one.
Hmm.
I brought up the quadratic formula, and you said a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So
And I brought up this one, huh?
yeah, so
That's
now
good.
we can bring up the Pythagorean theorem. That's the one he created. Now's your
Yes,
time to shine, Alec. Say it.
I know
Recite
this
it again.
one.
Say it.
A plus
Oh, oh.
a squared plus b squared equals c squared.
There you go.
Let's go. I got it down.
There you go. Yeah. So he's the one that founded that, Pythagoras, and he was from the Greek Empire or Greek civilization. And the Greeks also founded many other like modern day mathematical subjects. Like they completely did trigonometry, which Pythagorean theorem is part of that. They did geometry, all the shapes and stuff, and then like a form of statistics. It's not like modern day statistics, but they had their own like kind of thing. Like they're the ones that started it. So
Hmm.
yeah, it's crazy how we still use their like techniques for math and stuff and
Yeah.
teach our children that.
Yeah, how do
But
you even figure out like how do you create a Pythagorean theorem? Like,
yeah, like I don't. I mean, that one's definitely more useful, like Pythagorean theorem.
oh, it's useful for sure, but like
But
I
like the
guess if you're just playing around with numbers, you had a triangle.
yeah,
I guess it makes sense. Like he just like figured out how it works.
one of our cousins had to recently use the Pythagorean theorem. He had to figure out like to the how long. So it was on the roof, the front part of the roof. He needed to
Uh
figure out how long the arch was to the very tippy top of the point, and he
huh.
wasn't able to like reach it and to figure that
Yeah.
out with his ladder. So what he did was he measured the height and then the width of it, and then he sent us a video saying like, "Look, I'm finally using the Pythagorean theorem." It was so funny.
Yeah.
We're all like,
It was funny.
you go, Pavlik."
Yeah.
But
That
yeah,
was
it's
funny.
like it's cool that they're the ones that created that. And then in
Yeah.
astronomy, one of their achievements was they calculated the distance between Earth and the Sun and Moon and the Sun, or sorry, Moon and the Earth, and they like figured out the circumference of the two objects. So that's pretty much the solar eclipse.
Hmm.
It's crazy how like the world or yeah, like for us in our perspective how the moon and the sun align up perfectly in a solar eclipse, and it's like so far away, but like they line up perfectly, like the
Uh huh.
calculations where
Yeah.
you can barely see like the outer rim of the sun. So it's like I don't know, like knowing that there's got to be some type of higher power. Like that just
Of
doesn't
course.
happen like that. So that's like one of the reasons.
And
Uh,
it's also all ratioed, but like all those numbers are ratioed.
yeah.
Like
So like, there's no way that just happens
yeah,
by accident. Like I know for religion, that's like one of the um, shoot,
like
not
big
I
reasons,
big reasons. Like people
big
say
reasons.
like
Yeah.
that's why religion or like there's a higher power is because like there's no way something like that can just happen on accident. Like there has to be someone doing that.
That's actually a lot of the scientists are saying that because you know the scientists
Really?
that like study everything, they're like they're like there's no way that this was caused by
Oh,
accident.
okay, yeah.
So like there's
Could be a
no way.
simulation though. Like
Could
there's
be.
always like arguments like that people say, but
Hmm.
no da. Yeah, that's one of the big advancements in astronomy, and then go into philosophy, which was what they're really well known for. They paved the way for like modern Western philosophy, and they contemplated ideas such as like human nature, ethics, and morals. One of the most popular, what are they called, philosophers? His name was Socrates, and I want to bring up one of his quotes. It is a shame for a man to grow old without seeing the beauty and strength of which his body is capable.
Yeah. I
What do you
see
think
that.
about this?
I saw that on TikTok, like it with like
So
the
many
deep
people
voice,
used it. Yeah.
with like the deep voice and
It is a
like
shame for a man to grow old without. I can't replicate it, but
and
like,
then the pictures that they're just showing like oof,
yeah, it's
like
like
it just gets you motivated.
right. That was a trend like a little while ago, maybe like a year ago, but
Yeah.
I haven't seen it recently.
Yeah,
But
same.
yeah, it's honestly it's a great quote. It's the truth. Like I
Uh,
feel like that's something you should definitely aim to get. Like even if you're not able to achieve like a very good physique, try your hardest to at least like look the best you can possibly look. Like it just
yeah,
keeps
reach
your
peak.
yeah, it reaches I mean, sorry. It keeps your like mental strength high and just like you're working for something you're trying to achieve type of thing. I don't know, it
Yeah.
just keeps you in that grind mindset. Another quote I want to bring up is from Aristotle. So, quality is not an act, it is a habit. This kind of ties into the verse we talked about today, but do you understand it or not really? I can say it again.
Well,
Quality,
no,
huh?
I
You
have
get
it
it,
right in
yeah.
front of me. I get it. It's just
Oh, shoot, yeah. Uh, snap, you're cheating, man. This was supposed to be a test. Yeah, let me explain it at that point then. So, pretty much how I understood this quote is like even though you're being consistent with something and you're working hard to achieve it, or I mean you're not working hard to achieve it, like you're just working every single day and like practicing it daily, you're not
mhm.
necessarily gonna achieve your best or you're not gonna achieve your like true goals. Like you'll gain little from that if it's not quality work.
Yeah.
But if you work super hard and practice how you perform, there's a saying like that, you will like reach your true potential, and that's when like the like true growth comes from. Is if you work daily but you work hard every single time you do it. Like there's days where like you don't want to do something, sure, doing it will bring some growth even if you're like kind of like doing a half-ass and you're like, oh well, at least I still did it today. But
Yeah.
like it does, obviously you're not going to achieve true success or your full capabilities unless if you work your hardest every single time doing it. So that's like another like motivational type of quote in a way. Um, and one more I got. This guy is a little less well known than the other two. His name is Pericles, but he said, "What you leave behind is not what is engraved in stone monuments, but what is woven into the lives of others." Let that sink in. Absorb it. Taste it. What do you think? Explain
I
your reasoning.
mean, reasoning for what?
Like,
How
do
I
you agree with
understand
that?
it?
Yeah, like I can
I
say
don't.
pretty much how I interpreted it. I think you're gonna have a different.
Well, I know what it's interpreted as. I just like I'm
Well,
looking
no,
at it.
like
I'm just
what I've
thinking.
written over here, that's not like
No, I'm not.
interpreted.
I didn't even
Oh,
read that
okay,
yet. I didn't read it yet.
okay.
So, um, Well, I know what he's okay. So what you leave behind is not what is engraved. So stone monuments is what he's basically saying is like in history books, I guess.
Yeah.
Right. It's how you affect other people's lives, like at the moment, which that matters more. But that's the only thing left behind by him.
Hmm.
So that doesn't really make any sense because that's the only thing
Nah,
we have like we don't know how he affected other people. You know,
I guess, right? But
like
it's also like, I don't know how I interpret it as saying like it's it's very difficult, first of all, to even like have your name go out into the history books. Like it's a 1 out of 1 billion chance. Like there's out of all of humanity, there's barely any names that are
mm,
like listed in history book or remembered. But also, like there's no reason to like try to achieve something and put your name in history books, because most likely your name will eventually be forgotten. Because like with advancements, like maybe like your name will be brought up, but your achievements will be like old and like dusted over. So there's no reason to achieve like try to work to put your name in history books, you know? Like if it
okay,
happens,
I
it
see.
happens, but don't like have your whole entire life depend on that. Like it's better to leave a lasting impression on the people closest to you and prepare them the best you can like before you go. So like give your knowledge to them, like tell them all like the secrets of how to like live a good life and everything like that. But like I think that's the most important thing, and that's kind of how what I got from it.
Which a way that I also see it could be as is like, um, so the people that are engraved in like history are the people that change people's lives. So, which is also seeing like who changed people's lives the most. I mean, it could be in a good or bad way, right? Because who do we know like like who's in the history books? You know, like the massive names. They either caused really good or they like caused really bad.
Mm-hmm.
Like there are people that like were just kings, I guess, that were in the history books that didn't do anything. Like they were
Well,
just
they
nobodies,
became a king. That's something.
and they didn't become a king. They just were born as a king, I guess. You know,
Yeah.
but I don't know. Maybe changing people's lives or affecting people's lives gets you, into
Right.
the
Like
history books, I guess.
you strive to improve other people's lives, and somehow if that lands you in the history books, like oh, good for you, I guess. But like that's not something you're trying to achieve, because that's like I feel like a wasted life if you're just oh I want to become well known and successful, and that's the only thing I care about. Like at a certain point after you've achieved good for yourself, it's time to give back and try to improve other people's lives and not just like be
Mm,
selfish in the way.
yeah, but the biggest names are the people, the bad people.
You think so?
I mean, whose
George
name does
Washington.
everybody know? Not nobody, not everybody knows his name. Everybody knows Hitler.
Well, that's because it's like the most like frequent or like not frequent. Shoot, like closest thing
Everybody,
in history to us.
everybody knows Napoleon.
Napoleon was not a bad guy.
I mean, he was fine, but like he wasn't like a was he a good guy?
He just
Shoot,
wanted
am
good
I
for
messing him
himself.
up?
I mean, he might not be considered a good guy for some people. Like he definitely did some messed up stuff, but that's all kings.
Okay, who else was a bad guy in history?
I don't know.
You don't know anybody?
Not, I mean, Stalin wasn't the best guy, but
Everybody
that's
knows
like
him.
literally those are all leaders.
Well, yeah, but they were bad people. Like,
But they're not necessarily. They're not,
okay,
Hitler's the
Genghis
one.
Khan.
He was he a bad person to his own people,
So
like
he was a
by other
bad person to
people.
the rest of the world, bro. He was a
Well,
bad
yeah,
person
but
to the
like
whole world. How many people did he kill? Like a quarter of the civilization?
enough to make a change in the carbon footprint, according to Joe
Yeah,
Rogan.
exactly. Right
He
now,
definitely killed a
who
lot of people.
doesn't know King Kim Jong Un?
A lot of people. I feel like he's not
I
really talked
doubt
about.
it. I doubt it. Everybody knows him.
I mean,
Everybody knows North
I
Korea.
personally know him.
You personally know him. He's literally chilling in your room.
Should I show?
I
Actually, no.
don't know.
I'll show a picture. I don't want to mess with my
Yeah,
camera.
yeah.
Live, laugh, love. That's another great quote from him.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I don't know, like the people that like in the history books that like everybody knows, I guess. Are sort of
But
the
I feel
bad
like back
people.
then, that's the only people that were noted in history books because they are the ones that controlled history. Like they they made sure that their names were written down, and no
Well,
one
he
else's,
made
which
that
means
much of an impact that he had to been written down. There was just like
yeah.
no chance that he wasn't gonna get written down. You know, Alfred. You know, who Alfred is like no,
No,
it was in Britain. Like he was the English king who,
I did not know.
like pushed the entire. He started like the whole. It was Alfred the Great. I don't think everybody knows him, but he was like supposed to be like some really good guy who started like the connecting the entire like what's it called continent. English. It's not a continent. Never mind. It's like island basically.
Hmm.
The like, not a lot of people know him. Like who do you know that was good? Like George Washington. He was just the president. He wasn't that good. Did he do much good?
For the American people, he did good.
We started the country basically, but
Helped.
yes.
Yeah. I mean,
But
yeah,
yeah,
I definitely see what you mean. Like
yeah,
those famous people or didn't have the best actions, but hey, people make mistakes. So we should
yeah.
have
Forgive
it
and
in our
forget.
hearts. Yeah. Well,
Forgive and forget.
I guess you can't forget because it's in history books. You know, that's what you teach people, but you can't forget history.
No.
But yeah, let's get into the Olympics. That's another big part of their Greek culture. Yeah, so the first recorded year of the Olympics was in the year 776 BC, and the Greeks hosted the Olympics every 4 years. How we do it right now, it's like, well, I guess we do it every 2 years in a way, but the Summer Olympics
Yeah.
is every 4 years, and the Winter is every 4 years. But
Yeah.
they did this in the honor of the Greek god Zeus, which was the leader, as we discussed before, and they pretty much only had like one or two events. So they had an event called the pentathlon, which was a combination of 5 different sports. So they had a foot race, just like running pretty much, jumping, discus and javelin throwing, and wrestling, all in one thing. And pretty much like the winner, I don't know how they like judge who the winner is out of those 5, but yeah, that's how they used to do it. And it's like cool because like all of those races or events are still like practiced in the current Olympics right
Yeah.
now, so they just kind of
Crazy.
kept it. And they also had a form of boxing back then as well, so that was another event. Did some research with that.
Just fighting.
But yeah,
Just
the funny
fighting.
thing is, so only men were participating, but the funny thing is that they had to be naked while participating, so it just like it's kind of awkward. I don't know. Like personally, if I was in the events and I was like up against a different opponent, I feel like they wouldn't want to get in the ring with me. Like they'd be scared before it even happened. Like the size of my like I don't know. I personally would be scared. Like nah, I don't want to fight him. He's a little too scary, you know.
Your
He's too
chest? Are you
confident.
talking about your chest?
My chest?
Talking about the size of your chest?
Yeah, is it my chest?
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyways, would you want to fight naked?
Nah, I'm good.
You sure? Like
I mean, we could get.
we
to
can try
but-
it out next time.
I mean, it was normal. What can you say?
That's your
It was normal, bro.
We're just practicing history.
you gotta support the Greeks. Come on.
History repeats itself. we'll support that. Oh shoot. But yeah, the Olympics are still going on today, and it's based off of the creation from the Greek culture.
No
But,
naked
yeah.
men though.
Diving can be argued.
It's naked.
Well,
I mean, they had a speedo.
booty shorts.
but it's not even shorts. It's
Yeah.
just underwear.
Oh, they have the cap. I forgot.
Oh.
They're covered up.
Oh, yeah. They're good.
Yeah.
They're good.
They're good. They're good. Let's go into other creations. So, the Greeks also used. They didn't have the luxury of toilet paper like we do today, they had to use stones to clean up. So they used
Uh,
broken pieces of ceramic pottery, and sometimes if they were lucky, the edges would be smoothed down so they wouldn't cut them up. But like they'd pretty much just use a piece of pottery, get down there, scrape around, and just like do the best they possibly could to clean up their booty. So
yeah.
yeah, they definitely developed some crazy calluses down there. There's no way. Like from birth, they probably bled a couple
That's
times, and then a
insane.
few
They
years
probably
into
got
it,
the
they
babies already up. The babies
yeah
already have calluses.
rock hard.
Rock hard.
So like I don't yeah that's
That would suck. That
yeah it's
sucks.
definitely nice that like we've advanced in the current day and
Yeah.
we've got the luxury of dude wipes. You ever heard of that?
I've heard of it.
Dude wipes are crazy.
Williams.
Yeah,
Williams trying
no,
to put me
yeah,
on.
he put me on it. I went on and I never went back. Like they
Why?
make sure you stay clean, fresh, and ready to take on the world.
How do
Like
you go to the
you
store
don't
and buy
understand.
them?
You don't understand how much my confidence rose after I started using dude wipes.
That's
Like,
cap.
nah, bro.
That's cap. Why? How?
Because
How?
my
How?
booty was clean and I was feeling confident. Like, bro,
Is your
chest
booty
puffed
not
out,
clean?
man.
Oh
Oh, it's clean now. We don't have to
There's-
talk about the
okay.
past, but it's clean
Ha-
now.
How do you go into the store and just buy dude wipes? Like every single time I look at dude wipes, like I think like that looks like an
Amazon,
embarrassment, bro.
if you're embarrassed, like I literally when I got it the first time, that's all I bought. I went, grabbed dude wipes, and then I went to check if they had Prime, and they didn't have Prime at that time, so I just went, whatever, and went and checked out and got dude wipes.
That's- Why did you get it?
I
In the
wanted
first
to
place?
try it out.
You wanted
Like,
to try it
was-
out?
William was hyping it up, so I
William
gotta see
hyped
what the hype was about, and it did not disappoint. I'll tell you that.
Wow, that's crazy.
I recommend it to you, and I recommend it to the audience. That's enough
dude
of the
wipes.
toilet paper. The Greeks were also well known for their use of bronze work. You did say like how they collapsed around the Bronze Age, or the Bronze Age collapsed or something like that. I don't remember what you said. Anyways, they used bronze. Yeah, they used bronze in the creation of many of their sculptures and statues. And if you go to museums in like that area, or like Greek museums or something, like the statues are very like big part of the tourist attractions and stuff. A lot of their statues were formed of their Greek gods in like honor, and like they would probably worship them and stuff like that. But it's kind of interesting that those Greek gods were always portrayed as being like very aesthetic and well proportioned, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, like, yeah, it's probably something men looked up to and wanted to achieve, but and that's like considered to be like the perfect thing and hard to get. But it's like it's just kind of interesting that even back then they like wanted to achieve that like aesthetic look that even men like to this day are chasing, you know?
You know, I think that it was completely different back in the day. Back in
You
the
think so?
day, back in the day when you were rich, like you wanted to be stuffed a little bit on the bigger side because
Right, yeah.
everybody knows that you have enough money to eat, you know. So whenever they would look at people that were bigger, it was always because they were rich because they had enough money to eat. And when like the skinny people, you know, it was always like they're broke, they got no money.
Right, but to be jacked means you have money because that still requires a lot of food, and you have like you're well disciplined because you're able to like have that physique and stuff. So
But
in
the
a way,
thing
that
is,
would be
I
better.
heard that the people were not even close to what the
Right,
images
the
or,
Greek
like,
people were
yeah.
nothing close to that. Even
If-
like the
even the
statues
kings,
of
yeah.
philosophers
Yeah.
and stuff, like they had the statues of like the men with small wieners. Those like guys were always shredded, but that's not how they actually were.
Yeah.
Like the gods, that's how they looked at them to be. Like even there's like a saying today is like you look like a Greek god or something like that. That's in a way saying like you look shredded, you look jacked, aesthetic, and everything.
Mhm.
But yeah,
The nice,
like I,
nice hair. They
yeah,
had
personally,
nice
I thought
hair.
that's what the Greeks looked up to, being as like physically attractive. Like you're a well groomed man, you're aesthetic, well proportioned, and just like every all your physical aspects are at the like at peak. So that's kind of how I thought like they looked up to
Uh,
it, but like you're saying that most of them didn't look like that, which even today like most people don't look good,
of course.
but that's what they're like. I don't know, it's kind of changing in modern society, but personally that's what I think people look up to, is like being fit, shredded, like in shape, and that's like the most attractive physique. I
Yeah,
guess
for
everyone
sure.
has like their own attractions, but yeah.
So
But yeah, uh, got two more
yeah,
inventions that they
yeah.
created, and I think that's pretty much it. So they also created the computer. It obviously wasn't anything similar to like the current day digital computers. Like they weren't playing Fortnite back then or doing like
They're
research or
missing
anything like
out,
that.
bro. They're missing
Missing
out.
out.
Trust me. Trust me.
But yeah, the way that their computers worked out was it consisted of like a clockwork mechanism. So there's a bunch of gears. They
Mhm.
they found like a um I guess a computer like in the ocean around the year 1900 of the Greeks, and it consisted of pretty much like 30 bronze gears that worked together, and they use these computers to calculate astronomical positions. So like they used it for eclipses and kind of like worked as a calendar in a way. So it wasn't anything of our caliber today of computers, but it was still cool that they created something like that that calculated things, you know.
Yeah.
And they also created the steam engine, not the steam engine that like was created in the 1800s with the train and everything, but it was a concept of it again. It was a man named Heron, which is a Greek engineer, a very popular one. He also invented automatic doors. So, like you walk up to him and open. He used some type of hydraulic system or something, like with water heating up, and it would open up the doors. I don't know specifically how he did it,
Interesting.
but he did invent those. And he invented a vending machine, which we still like use to this day. Like they put a
A
coin in
vending
there.
machine.
Yeah, you put a coin in there, and like something would drop out of a box or something like that. But he also
Oh,
he invented the Hero engine, which is the steam engine that we're talking about right now. And I'll pull up a picture, but this was pretty much like a bladeless steam turbine, which spinned from the so there was pretty much water underneath that was heated, and the steam would go up and like spin something in the center of it. Like I don't know, I'm doing a very bad job of explaining it, but like I can
but
maybe
it
pull up like
was,
a video clip or
yeah.
something of
It
how it
was just
works.
like a basic thing where it was like
Yeah,
steam.
I mean not basic for that time, but like what we view it, it's still
Yeah,
impressive.
yeah. It is. For how? Do you know what's when he invented it? It would be like two and a
So
half or
in the
two
classical
thousand years.
period,
Classical. That's 2,500 years ago.
yeah,
That's insane.
but
That's crazy.
yeah, they were very like all the civilizations we've been talking about, they're very well advanced for their time, and it's like
Yeah.
it's crazy how they did that long ago, and then it took us so long to kind of like get back on track of being like advanced species. I don't know, it took like around
Why do you
2000.
Why do you think that is?
What do
Because
you mean?
I have a way to think about it. So why do you think that? Well, not necessarily. I guess so. When those empires are around, they have the security and the funding, and all of the people that create those stuff have like the security and the funding, whatever they need to create
Mm-hmm.
stuff. But when it's like there's no empires and they're just living in the dark ages where they have to survive, like make food or whatever, they don't have to make
Mm-hmm.
food. They have to do like other stuff. They're philosophers. Like that was their job. Like they didn't work on the fields. So
Yeah, like
yeah,
they did their like speeches or quotes, and then they received money for that, and then were able to buy their food. But in the Dark Ages, all they did was everyone was a farmer and they tried to survive on their own.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that definitely makes sense. But
That's why I mean the empires were good. They advanced it, but the
uh,
time after the empires, which is the Dark Ages, and like kind of stalled all growth, completely stalled, and everybody had to restart.
hmm
It's crazy. That sucked.
yeah. I mean, I think we got through everything that we wanted to discuss today. So
Yeah.
yeah,
So we're gonna close it off here. Thank you
yeah.
guys for watching. Join us next time.
See ya.